Hey, I'm Kate from dailytarotworld.com, and in this video I'm going to be giving you a sneak peek into how I do my professional tarot readings. So I've been reading tarot for a little over 10 years now, and it took me a few years to discover a style and a method of reading tarot for other people that really truly works for me. So this is a method that helps me truly relax into myself and tap into my intuition and deliver the best reading possible. So I'm going to be sharing this with you, and it's really kind of my tarot reading ritual. It's all the steps I go through before and after a tarot reading. So I'm going to start by saying that I do most of my readings are distance readings, meaning that the person I'm reading for is usually in another country. They're not sitting, right in front of me. And the method of reading that I do is I basically sit down with a tape recorder, or it's not a tape recorder, but my recording software on my laptop, and I record myself. I record the audio portion of me giving someone a reading as if they were sitting across from me. And then I send my client the link to download that audio file along with a picture of their cards. So before I get into breaking down all my steps, I want to share a couple of things with you. So number one is I'm primarily a teacher of tarot, not a tarot reader. So I most of the time I'm devoting my time to running tarot courses and teaching tarot and writing blog posts and making videos. So I only offer professional tarot readings twice a year, in January and then sometime in the summer. And I find that this method of only doing readings twice a year really, really works for me. And when I'm offering readings, I only offer one type of reading, meaning I use one spread for everyone. And I might alter the spread a little bit depending on who I'm reading for. So for example, right now I'm doing my New Year's tarot reading, so I use my New Year's tarot spread. And if you're interested in learning about why I only read twice a year and why I only offer one type of reading when I do, if you want to read the blog portion of this video, so I have a blog post that goes along with this video, and I go into that in more depth. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to put the link to my blog post in the description box just below this video. But otherwise, I'm going to keep talking about my tarot reading ritual. So when I get an order for a tarot reading, I always reach out to that person and ask them if they have any specific questions or topics that they want me to focus on during their reading. Once I hear back from them and I have that information, then I'm ready to start my reading. So the first thing I do is I energetically clear my reading space, myself, and my tarot deck. So this is what I do. My preferred method of clearing is using sage. So usually what I do is I'll crack a window. I'm not going to crack a window right now, but that's normally what I would do. And then I light my sage bundle. So I've got two sage bundles here right now. I've got one, the one I'm going to light is this one, and it's one that I bought at a metaphysical store a few years ago actually, so it's taken me a while to get through it. And then I have a whole bunch of little sage bundles that I made myself with sage that I grew in my garden. And I find I like the ones that I grew myself best. They just have the nicest smell. But for purposes of demonstration, I'm going to use the bigger bundle just because it doesn't smoke as much as the one that I made. For some reason, this one takes forever to get going. Sometimes I have to light it like a few times. And what sage does, sage has been used for hundreds if not thousands of years. But sage is thought to be like a good clearing herb that like just clears the energy. It's cleansing. I don't know if it actually is, but I feel like it works for me. I like it. All right, so what I do is I start by saging myself. So I usually stand up when I do this, but for you guys for the demo, I'm going to be sitting down. So I start with my feet and I move up my body, and I just use a feather to waft the sage smoke slowly up my body, and I just imagine it clearing all my chakras and my aura. And I just imagine myself becoming like a less dysfunctional version of myself without all my issues and stuff like that. And then to get the back of my body, I turn around in circles like 3 times, just to get like a big waft of sage smoke all around me. And see, the sage is like almost gone out already. It's like barely smoking right now. I'm gonna light it again. And after I've saged myself, then I sage my tarot deck. So just bear with me while I get this this thing going. I mean, sometimes I have to relight this thing like 5 times. Okay, so now I'm ready to sage my tarot deck. So I just basically just waft the sage smoke like this on it. So there's really not much to it at all. And usually when I light this stuff, I get like a huge plume of smoke happening. This is very tame, but that's okay because I didn't want to use my other bundle because I didn't want it to get too smoky in here for the video. So I sage my deck, and as I'm saging, I'm thinking of it like just clearing my deck, clearing any kind of stagnant energy that's stuck to the cards. It's just can't survive the sage smoke. And then I move around, I move clockwise around my reading space, and I just sage the alcove that I'm going to be reading in. So I'll sage my laptop, I'll sage my microphone, my Buddha statues. I've got crystals all around here. I've got a bunch of crystals on my bookshelf, and I just take some time to really sage every crystal. All right, so then once my space is clear, I close my window. Oops. And I put my sage away. Okay. So next step is to shuffle my deck. Now the deck that I have here is the Everyday Witch Tarot, which is actually one of my favorite decks to use for readings. And I always start by knocking on my tarot deck. I don't know why, it's just like I think of like knocking out any stagnant energy, and then I shuffle my cards. So I'll shuffle the deck a few times, and while I'm shuffling the deck, I'm thinking of the person I'm reading for. And one detail that I accidentally left out is I will write the name, the first and last name of the person I'm reading for on a piece of paper, along with their questions. I like to write their questions out by hand because I like to have it in front of me, and just writing it out by hand lets me kind of remember the questions that they asked. So I write their name and questions, and I keep this right on my laptop while I'm doing the reading, so it's right in front of me. So as I'm shuffling the cards, I'm thinking of the person I'm reading for, and I'm thinking about their questions or their whatever background info they've given me. And then once I'm done shuffling the cards, I hold the deck in my hands, and then I sort of drop down into myself. So I'll take a couple of deep breaths. I close my eyes, and this is where I set the intention to connect with myself and then connect to the person that I'm reading for. So I say a little intention, a little prayer, a little intention before the reading. And I say it in my head, so I don't say this out loud, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to say it out loud so you know what it is. So I start by saying, I now connect to my heart space, the seat of my intuition, and I connect with my soul and my higher self. And I also connect to the heart, soul, and higher self of, and here's where I say the name of the person I'm reading for, so that together we can deliver a reading that is both accurate and helpful and exactly what my client needs to hear at this time. And then I sit in silence for just a moment. I hold the deck in my hands, I close my eyes, and I just take a moment to drop down and really feel that connection. And I know I've connected with that person when I feel like tingling in the palms of my hands, or sometimes I'll feel just like a deep calm, a deep peace, or even like a glowy aura feeling. Whenever I get a feeling like that, I know, okay, I've made connection, I can start the reading. So now it's time to lay the cards out, to choose the cards for the reading. And so I'll show you how I do this. So I look at the spread that I'm going to be using. Now, let's say I'm using my New Year's Tarot spread. The first position is the opening message from Spirit. So I'll hold my deck of cards and I'll ask, what opening message does Spirit have for whoever it is I'm reading for? And then I'll choose a card by holding the deck in my hand, basically cutting the deck in half with my hand. So I just go like this. The deck will naturally separate, and I'll choose the top card and I'll lay it down. Then the next position in the spread is how to best achieve your goals and dreams. So I'll ask, how can my client best achieve her goals and dreams this year? And then I'll choose the card a different way. So I'll actually hold the deck in my hands and I'll tilt it to the side. Oops, and it will just naturally part, and then I'll take that top card. And then I'll move on to the next position. And for this third position, I'll do another different method of choosing a card. So I'll go like this. That wasn't very good. Let me do it again. Like that. And then I'll choose the card that's highest up. And I'll put that down. And I'll go through my whole spread. This is a 9-card spread, so I'll go through the whole spread and I'll be doing those 3 different card choosing techniques. So I'll be alternating between letting it fall away, throwing the cards up, and cutting the deck with my hand. So I'll do that until I have 9 cards laid out. And then I'm ready to start the actual reading. So this is where I will start recording. Now, for those of you who are interested, I use Audacity to record my readings. Audacity is a free recording software that you can download from the internet. I've been using it for years and it's awesome. I love it. So I will, and I also use a blue microphone. It's called a Blue Snowball. And so I get my microphone all set up and then I press record. And what I love about using Audacity is I can pause it if I need to. So sometimes when I'm doing a reading, I'll kind of get stuck on a card, and it's nice to have that luxury of just like pressing pause and giving yourself an extra few seconds or a minute to just kind of sit with that card. So that's a luxury that you don't get when you're doing a live reading. And that's what I love about doing this kind of reading, is that it helps me just feel more more relaxed. I feel like I have more breathing room. And if there's something that like interrupts the reading, like I almost always remember to unplug the phone before I do a reading. And I always do my readings when I'm alone at home. I don't do it when there's, with my husband's home or something like that, because my microphone is so sensitive that it picks up like every little noise. And if my cats are like messing around in the background, it will pick it up as if my cats were like right next to me. So I make sure my cats are sleeping, or I put them in another room, and then I start my recording. So as I'm going through the reading, I like to read one card at a time. So I'll turn over the first card and I'll start with it. And actually, maybe I should move my camera. Okay, so I've got my cards laid out, and I like to read one card at a time. So I'll turn the first card over, I'll read that card, and then I'll turn the next card over and read that card. And I'll go through each card, and as I'm turning the cards over, I almost always notice like certain connections and patterns among the cards. So I'll start kind of making those connections and tying the cards together. Let's try to think if there's anything else I want to mention here. Oh, the one downside to reading this way, so the one downside to doing like a recorded distance reading where the person isn't in front of you, is that you can't ask your client questions while you're doing the reading. So when I'm doing an in-person reading, I can ask them questions like, you know, is this making sense? You know, is this resonating? I can say things like, you know, are you in a relationship right now? Do you want to be in a relationship? And if you're doing a distance reading like this, you can't really ask those kinds of questions. So you have to ask some questions at the beginning if there's something you want to know. Otherwise, this style of reading really forces you to rely more on your intuition, which is really a blessing in disguise sometimes. So yeah. Okay, so then once I'm finished my reading, I wrap the reading up, and I always say to my client, if you have any questions about your reading, feel free to ask me. I like to leave it open-ended in case they have a question. I don't like to just be like, here's your reading, don't talk to me. I like to keep it open in case, you know, a question comes up when they're listening to their reading. So then once I'm finished that reading, I do a little bit of minor editing. So what I do is I edit out the white noise in the background. So my microphone picks up all kinds of weird like humming noises and just white noise. So I edit that out. That only takes like 30 seconds. That's a really quick thing to do. And I take a picture of my cards, and then I upload the reading to Google Drive. And then I send my client the email with the link to their audio file and a photo of their cards, and then that's it. So then once I'm finished the reading, it's important to let go of that reading. So at the beginning of the reading, I took the time to tune in to my client and connect with them. So once the reading is finished, I have to tune out of that client and disconnect. You don't want to stay tuned in to anyone, you know, after the reading. So basically, I don't do anything super fancy here to break the connection. Basically what I do is once I've finished the reading, I gather up the cards, and this is like a symbolic gesture that the reading is over, it's finished. And then I put my cards back in the deck, and I'll give it 1 or 2 shuffles just to kind of break up that energy. And then I have the client's name and questions written down, and I'll just kind of draw a little scribble through it. I'll put it to the side, and I'll put a check mark next to their name on my readings list, because I keep a list of everyone that I have to read for who've ordered readings, and I'll just put a little check mark by their name. And then when I send the email to them with their reading, I think like, you know, I mentally kind of release that reading as I do that. I say to myself, okay, this reading is done. I release this person. I release this reading. If you don't do that, you'll find yourself thinking about that reading later on that day or the next day or later on that week and worrying about it. And this way, when I fully release the reading, I just release it, I forget about it, and I don't think about it again unless that person contacts me with questions. So this has been my demonstration of my reading process or reading ritual. And now I'm interested to hear from you. I'm interested to hear what you think of it, and also if you have your own reading ritual or reading process that you like to do, whether you do professional readings or if you just read for yourself or if you just read for fun. Is there a process that you like to go through? I'd love to hear about it in the comment section. And I'm going to be offering private tarot readings for the rest of January. So if you're watching this video in January, I'm going to put a link to how you can find out more about ordering a reading from me in the description box below this video. If you're watching after January, I won't be offering readings again until probably the summertime and then next January. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give me a like and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post these videos every so often. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an excellent day.